Protesters were back on the streets of Kenosha, Wisconsin tonight after a prosecutor announced he is not charging a white officer with the shooting of Jacob Blake. We want to take a step back and remind you what happened back in August. Police were called out to a home following a domestic dispute on August 23rd. Cell phone video shows Jacob Blake walk to the driver's side door and officers following him with their guns drawn. Well, as Blake opens that door, Officer Rustin Shesky grabs Blake's shirt and opens fire, shooting him 7 times in the back. His 3 children were inside of that vehicle, and today a prosecutor says that Shesky acted in self-defense because Blake was armed with a knife and resisting arrest. Investigators found a knife in the car. The Blake family says they are disappointed in the prosecutor's decision.
We are immensely disappointed with that decision. We believe that there was more than sufficient evidence to find probable cause to charge Officer Shesky. We believe that there were certain standard operating procedures that Officer Shesky should have followed that were not followed. There was no de-escalation. And we believe that the shooting an individual 7 times while walking away from the officer is nothing less than intentional.
Well, the shooting left Blake paralyzed, and Wisconsin's governor activated the National Guard to help keep the peace tonight. So far, we haven't heard of any disturbances, but the U.S. Justice Department said today the civil rights investigation into that shooting is ongoing.